Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Morning. Defense counsel, can I get your name, please?
Yes, my name is Catherine Austin, Catherine, last name Austin.
Thank you, Ms. Austin.
Thank you.
Morning, can I get your name, please?
Hinos?
Hinos?
Yes, sir.
Good morning, ma'am. This is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you today for some city court matters for possession of drug paraphernalia, crime trespass, parks closed, multiple counts. These are for failure to appear charges. It's like last court date was in January of this year. So ma'am, there was a bond originally that was issued by Judge Moreno in the amount of that bond of $250. It's going to be cash or secured. If you do post that bond, ma'am, or if you're released, do not consume any drugs or alcohol, no contact of any kind with any of the listed victims, do not return to the incident location. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You do have the right to hire your own attorney. I'm going to appoint the Tucson City Public Defender's Office to represent you, ma'am. And Ms. Hinojos, your next court date will be March 25th at 1:45 p.m. at the Tucson City Court. If they fail to appear, warrant can issue for your arrest. Trial can go in your absence. If you're still in custody, the jail will make sure you get seen that day. You understand all that, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. You're excused for today. Morning, sir. Can I get your name, please?
Rene Palomino?
Anthony Palomino?
Yes, Rene Anthony Palomino.
Good morning, Mr. Palomino. So this is a time set for review hearing. Looks like you have the pending Pima County case. You just got your disposition last week, 30 days in Pima County Jail.
Yes.
Okay, so this is the Nogales Justice Court case. We're just going to reset this a month. So by then you should be finished with your jail sentence, and then the other jurisdiction should be able to pick you up from that. So we're going to reset this to April 16th, and hopefully by then the other jurisdiction will have taken you to their custody. All right.
Okay.
Yep. Well, you're excused for today. Thank you. Morning, can I get your name, please, sir?
Sorry, Felix?
Martin Anthony Felix?
Yes, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Felix. This is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you today on Pima County Justice Court misdemeanor charge for domestic violence, criminal damage. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. In certain instances, if you cannot afford one, one may be appointed for you, sir. So, Mr. Felix, today I am going to release you on your own promise to appear at your next court date, okay? So you're going to be released today. Conditions include no drugs, no alcohol, do not commit any acts of domestic violence, no contact with Alfred Felix, all right? Don't go to his house, no contact with him. All right, your next court date, Mr. Felix, is going to be March 27 at 10:30 a.m. at the Pima County Justice Court.
Actually, I didn't mean to break that.
Okay, you don't want to say anything about the case, sir. You don't want to say anything about the case, all right? So anyways, the next court date will be March 27th at 10:30 a.m. You'll get paperwork before you get released today on the date time. It's going to be at the Justice Court. If you fail to appear, a warrant can issue for your arrest. You understand all that?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. You're excused for today, Mr. Felix.
Okay, have a great day.
Donna? See that accordingly, please?
Good morning, ma'am. Can I get your full name, please?
Donna Cossack,
And your middle name?
Marie. I don't go by that, but Marie.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Cossack, this is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you today on a misdemeanor charge of disorderly conduct, domestic violence out of Pima County Justice Court, or excuse me, Green Valley Justice Court. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. In certain instances, if you cannot afford one, one may be appointed for you. I'm gonna be setting some release conditions for you, ma'am. I think your son may be on the line. Mr. Scott Hickey, are you on the line? You might have to press. Okay, what did you want me to know, sir?
No,
Okay, you want her to come home?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you, sir. So ma'am, you heard your son there.
Afraid to go home. I'm afraid to go home. In my own house, I'm afraid to go home.
Okay, well, if I release you today, do you have somewhere else you can stay?
I'll go to a motel. He took over my house. He's squatting in it.
Okay, all right. Well, I am gonna release you today, ma'am, on your own promise to appear for your next court date. It's gonna be March 27 at 8:30 a.m. at the Green Valley Justice Court. When you get released today, you'll get paperwork on all that. Conditions include no drugs, no alcohol, do not commit any acts of domestic violence. You don't have to go to Scott Hickey's, you don't have to go to that shared residence. You can go anywhere else you'd like to, but he's okay with you having contact with him.
I'm not okay. It's my house. He's squatting in it.
Okay.
He won't leave. He don't work. Him and his girlfriend are using up all my social security and eating all my food. I can't get them out.
Okay.
I
Well,
can't
there
go
are
to
other
the
avenues, ma'am.
eviction.
There are other avenues of how to take care of that, but the criminal avenue is probably not the best way to take care of that. All right. So make sure you just show up to court the next date, March 27. If you don't appear, warrant can issue. Do you understand
And
all
you
that,
said
ma'am?
8:30? Yes, I do. 8:30, you said?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks for bringing that.
Larson, right?
Morning. Can I get your name, please?
Marie Larson.
Caitlin Marie Larson?
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, Ms. Larson. This is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you today on some misdemeanor charges at a Pima County Justice Court for disorderly conduct, domestic violence, and assault domestic violence. It also looks like you have a pending case out of Pima County Justice Court as well. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. In certain instances, if you cannot afford one, one may be appointed for you. Ma'am, if I release you today, do you have somewhere you can stay that is not with Dorothy Handling?
Yeah, I do.
All right, so I'm going to release you today on your own promise to appear. to your next court date. Conditions include no drugs, no alcohol, do not commit any further acts of domestic violence. If you do have any property at Ms. Handling's residence, you can go back with the court order with law enforcement escort to pick up some personal belongings if you have any there. Do not go to Ms. Handling, otherwise don't go to her house or her workplace if she has a workplace. All right, and your next court day, ma'am, is going to be March 27th at 10:30 a.m. at the Pima County Justice Court. Before you get released from jail this morning, you'll get a piece of paper with the date, time, and all that. If you fail to appear for court, a warrant can issue for your arrest. You understand all that, Ms. Larson?
Yeah, I do.
All right, thank you, ma'am. You're excused for today.
Thank you.
Ernesto.
Morning, sir. Can I get your full name, please?
Ernesto Mauricio Parra.
Good morning, Mr. Parra. This is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you today on one count of DUI, which is a misdemeanor out of Pima County Justice Court. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney in certain instances. If you cannot afford one, one may be appointed for you. And I'm also seeing you on a Tucson City Court case for possession of drug paraphernalia, failure to appear. So on the DUI, sir, there actually was a bond amount that the original judge issued. So I'm going to honor that bond amount. It's the amount of $1,500. I'm just going to honor that bond amount, cash or secured. If you do post it or if you're released, no, do not drive without a valid driver's license, no drugs, no alcohol. I'm going to appoint an attorney for you. It's Adam Waters. He's going to be your attorney for the Justice Court case. Your next court date for that is actually tomorrow, March 18th at 1 p.m. All right, and then for your Tucson City Court case, sir, the bond amount for that warrant was originally 100, so I'm going to honor that bond of 100, cash or secured, no drugs, no alcohol. I'm going to appoint the Tucson City Public Defender's Office for you for that matter. I'm going to vacate April 1st hearing that was previously set. And your next court date for Tucson City is March 25 at 1:45 p.m. If you're in custody, the jail, make sure you get seen. If you post your bonds, you got to make sure you show up to court. If you fail to appear, warrant can issue. You understand all that, sir?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Your excuse for today.
So I won't be released today.
Not today unless you post the bonds.
Rosanna.
Morning, ma'am. Can I get your full name, please?
Rosana Alice Ayala Naranjo.
Thank you. Good morning, ma'am. This is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you today on some misdemeanor charges of criminal damage and disorderly conduct, domestic violence out of Tucson City Court. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. In certain instances, if you cannot afford one, one may be appointed for you. If I release you today, ma'am, can you stay at the 3430 West Calle de la Bajada address? Can you stay there? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. So I'm going to release you today, ma'am, on your promise to appear for your next court date. It's going to be April 15 at 1:30 p.m. Before you're released from jail, you get the paperwork on it, okay? So the conditions include, do not commit any further acts of domestic violence. At this time, no contact with Isaiah Elder, and do not go to his residence or his workplace. And this is also the time set for your arraignment. You're presumed innocent. I'm going to enter a not guilty plea on your behalf to any allegations filed against you. You are ordered to appear for all future court dates, including April 15th, which is your next one at the Tucson City Court. If you fail to appear, warrant can issue for your arrest. A trial can go without you. If you are convicted at a trial in your absence and unable to be sentenced within 90 days because you're on warrant status, you may lose your right to a direct appeal. So it's in your best interest to show up to court and make sure you get this taken care of. Do you understand all that, Miss Ayala?
Yes, I just have one question.
Go ahead.
So all my belongings are with Isaiah Elder. How do I go about that?
So once you're released, you can take the court order granting you release to the nearest law enforcement, whether it's police or to sheriff's office. And with the police escort, you can go and get your belongings.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you're excused for today, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, ma'am. Can I get your full name, please?
Nayeli Genevieve Martinez Ruiz.
Thank you. Good morning, Ms. Martinez-Ruiz. This is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you today on charges of assault and disorderly conduct, domestic violence, which are misdemeanors out of Tucson City Court. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. In certain instances, if you cannot afford one may be appointed for you. So ma'am, today, if I release you, do you have somewhere you can go that is not with Beatriz Martinez?
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to release you today on your own promise to appear. No contact with Beatriz Martinez while the case is pending. Do not go to her house or her workplace. And do not commit any further acts of domestic violence. Your next court date, ma'am, is going to be April 28th at 9 a.m. at the Tucson City Court. Before you're released from jail, you'll get paperwork about all that, okay? This is also the time set for your arraignment. You're presumed innocent. I'm going to enter not guilty pleas on your behalf and deny any allegations filed against you. You're ordered to appear for that April 28th hearing, as well as any future court dates. If you fail to appear, a warrant can issue. Trial can go without you. If you're convicted at a trial in your absence and unable to be sentenced within 90 days because you're on warrant status, you may lose your right to a direct appeal. So it's in your best interest to show up to court and make sure you get this taken care of. You understand all that, Ms. Martinez-Ruiz?
Yes.
All right, thank you, ma'am. You're excused for today.
Okay.
Good morning, sir. Can I get your name, please?
Lace Matthew Martin.
Good morning, Mr. Martin. This is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you today on a charge of criminal trespass in the second degree and disorderly conduct, which are misdemeanors out of Tucson City Court. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. In certain instances, if you cannot afford one may be appointed for you, sir. I am going to release you today on your own promise to appear for your next court date, which is going to be April 17th at 2:30 p.m. at the Tucson City Court. You'll get paperwork, sir, before you're released from jail today on the date, time, and all that. Conditions include no drugs, no alcohol while the case is pending. Do not return to O'Malley's on 4th Avenue. Okay, don't go there while the case is pending. All right, this is also the time set for consent. I'm going to enter not guilty pleas on your behalf. You're ordered to appear for all future court dates, including that April 17th date. If you fail to appear, a warrant can issue for your arrest. A trial can go without you. If you're convicted at a trial in your absence and unable to be sentenced within 90 days, you may lose your right to a direct appeal. So it's in your best interest, Mr. Martin, to make sure you show up to court and get this taken care of. You understand all that, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, sir. You're excused for today.
Thank you.
Good morning. Can I get your full name, please?
Mayor Joe Brown, 62587.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Good morning. This is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you today on a felony charge for unlawful flight from law enforcement. I'm also seeing you on a Tucson City Court matter for a failure to appear criminal trespass in the third degree and possession of drug paraphernalia. We're going to talk about the felony first, and then we'll talk about the Tucson City Court case. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. In certain instances, if you cannot afford one may be appointed for you. I'm going to appoint the Pima County Public Defender's Office for you, sir, for the felony matter, and you have Ms. Austin seated next to you for purposes of the release conditions today. All right, we're going to be setting some release conditions, sir. I have reviewed the interim complaint regarding the felony case, the pretrial services report. The state is recommending a $7,500 bond. Mr. Poston, anything further to add?
No, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor. Other than to highlight the fact that he's a yes on the NVCA and he's a 6 out of 4, he has a history of revocation of probation. State believes he's a flight risk, and that's not to discount the seriousness of the charge. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Poston. Ms. Austin?
Your Honor, I don't have Mr. Brown's complete record of failure to appear, but what I see here is that it was 60 years ago was his last failure to appear. I don't have any notice here of a warrant in another county. I'm sorry, one moment. Pardon me. Mr. Brown has informed me he was just at court last Thursday. And $7,500 is an extraordinarily high amount for somebody who's gainfully employed as a welder and is being held on allegations of a nonviolent offense. We would ask that the court would impose a bond of $1,000 cash or secured and release to pretrial services, Your Honor.
All right, sir. And you do have stable housing in Tucson?
Yes, ma'am. I have a house on Broadway and Harrison.
Okay. And you're employed?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, I'm going to release you to the third-party custody pretrial services today. Conditions include do not drive without a valid driver's license, no drugs, no alcohol, no firearms, monitoring and treatment as directed by pretrial.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, your next court date is going to be a preliminary hearing date on April 7th at 1:30 p.m. That date may or may not go. The state might send the case to grand jury. So just keep in contact with the PD's office. Usually they'll make you do a phone call just to make sure if you need to show up or not on that date. Because if you do fail to appear and there actually is a hearing that date, a warrant can issue for your arrest. You understand all that, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and my apologies, you do not actually have a Tucson City court case. I'm just seeing you on the felony today.
Okay.
All right, you're excused for today, sir. Thank you. Good morning, can I get your name, please?
Larson Montaño.
All right, good morning, ma'am. This is the time set for your initial appearance. I am seeing you today on, let me see here.
Shoot.
Yes. This Larson, Palomino. Let's see here.
I'm seeing you today on a Miranda City court case for possession of drug paraphernalia. Looks like there was a failure to appear recently. And there's also a number of Tucson City court matters for contributing to delinquency of a minor, drug paraphernalia, criminal damage, trespass, additional counts of criminal trespass and drug paraphernalia for failures to appear. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. In certain instances, if you cannot afford one may be appointed for you. So ma'am, on the Miranda City court case, I'm going to give you an attorney. It's going to be Janet Altschuler. And on that matter, there was originally a bond amount. So I'm going to honor that bond amount from Miranda City Court from that judge, the amount of $2,400, cash or secured. If you do post that bond, ma'am, or if it's reduced, et cetera, if you're released, no drugs, no alcohol. Your next court date for Miranda City Court is going to be March 17th, so actually this afternoon at 12 p.m. It's going to be video court. All right, and then for the Tucson City Court case matters, ma'am, since there are a number of failures to appear here, there's also a bond amount on this, which is $250. So I'm going to honor that bond amount from the Tucson City Court judge, $250, cash or secured. If you do post it or release, no drugs, no alcohol, do not go to any of the incident locations of the trespass, no contact with those business victims, et cetera. I'm going to appoint the Tucson City Public Defender's Office to represent you in those matters. And the next court date for Tucson City Court, ma'am, is going to be March 27 at 1:45 p.m. If you're still in jail, then you'll be seen by video. If you fail to appear for court, if you're released before then, a warrant can issue for your arrest. Do you understand all that?
Yes.
Thank you. You're excused for today.
Yeah, 42.
Morning. Can I get your name, sir?
Search for Higgins.
Morning, Mr. Higgins. This is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you today for a felony charge of theft of means of transportation. And
Ma'am, can I speak on that real quick?
No.
nope. And weapons misconduct by prohibited possessor, which are felony matters. Also seeing you on a failure to appear for Tucson City Court for crime trespass and drug paraphernalia, which are misdemeanors. We'll talk about the felony first and then the city court case. I'll be setting some release conditions for you today, sir. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. In certain instances, if you cannot afford one may be appointed for you. I'm going to appoint the Pima County Legal Defender's Office to represent you on the felony matter, and you have Ms. Austin seated next to you for purposes of today. I've reviewed the pretrial services report, the interim complaint. The state is recommending $7,500 in bond. Mr. Poston, anything further?
They would note the defendant's NVCA yes flag and the 6 out of 6 and 5 on the NCAA, Your Honor. This person has a history and is a flight risk.
Thank you. Ms. Austin?
Yes, Your Honor, I understand that this person has a history. However, he's currently pardon me, 1 month. Pardon me. Mr. Higgins is being held on a nonviolent offense. He does have active employment as a landscaper, and he does have housing. We would ask that the court set a $1,000 bond and it cash or secured, and if he posts it, he can be accountable to pretrial services.
All right, thank you, counsel. I do think a bond is appropriate in the felony matter, Mr. Higgins, and impose a bond of $7,500, cash or secured, released to pretrial if you post it. No drugs, no alcohol, no firearms, monitoring or treatment as directed by pretrial, no contact with the alleged victim, in this case, the owner of the vehicle. Do not go to her residence or her work. No contact with the co-defendant, Brittany Miranda, regarding this case. All right, your next court date for the felony matter, sir, is a preliminary hearing on March 27th at 1:30 p.m. That date may or may not go, so just keep in contact with your attorney. If you fail to appear for any court dates, a warrant can issue for your arrest. And then for your city court matter, sir, I'm actually going to release you on your own promise to appear the next court date, but because you are being held in custody, I'm going to appoint the Tucson City Public Defender's Office to represent you. Conditions you include if you are released from custody, no drugs, no alcohol, no contact with the alleged victim of the crime trespass, don't go to that business incident location. Your next court date, Mr. Higgins, for the Tucson City Court case is actually going to be May 16th at 9 a.m.
Your Honor, if I may,
Yes.
I would ask that a nominal bond of $100 be set in the city court matter. Should the defendant be able to post the $7,500 bond in the felony matter, or should he not be able to, would like him to be held on the city court matter simultaneously.
Okay. All right, so for the city court case, sir, I'm going to impose a $100 bond, cash or secured. Your next court date will be March 25 at 1:45 p.m. Will be by video. Right, if you post any of these bonds or released before any of your court dates, sir, make sure you show up to court and keep in contact with your attorneys. All right, you're excused for today. Good morning, ma'am. Can I get your full name, please?
Leticia Romero.
Good morning, Ms. Romero. This is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you today on some felony charges for possession of dangerous drug, possession of narcotic drug, possession of drug paraphernalia, as well as some misdemeanors for domestic violence, disorderly conduct, and out of Tucson City Court, a failure to appear, domestic violence, assaults. We're going to be talking about the felony case first, and then we'll talk about your misdemeanor cases. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. In certain instances, if you cannot afford one may be appointed for you. For your felony case, ma'am, I'm going to appoint the Pima County Public Defender's Office to represent you. And for the Tucson City Court case, I'm actually going to appoint Euphemius Katsarelis to represent you in the Tucson City Court case. All right, for the release conditions on the felony, I've reviewed the interim complaint, the pretrial services report. Looks like Ms. Romero is eligible for steps.
That would appear so, Your Honor. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Anything else, Mr. Poston?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. So Ms. Romero, the state is saying that you may be eligible to participate in a pre-indictment diversion program for drug treatment and substance abuse treatment. Would you be interested in potentially participating in that?
Yes.
You want to get some treatment?
I'd rather take it to court first.
Well, can I have a moment with my client?
Yes, of
Your Honor. Thank you for your patience.
All right, thank you, Ms. Austin. Ms. Romero, so would you like to participate in substance abuse treatment?
Yes.
Okay. All right, and Ms. Austin, just to give you a heads up, I am going to impose a bond on the Tucson City Court case. Would you like a nominal bond on the felony matter?
Yes, Your Honor.
Your Honor, Miss Romero has a Title 36 hold.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I've been telling them that.
All right, ma'am, that just means a mental health court.
I'm supposed to go to the doctors. But I got
Okay, so ma'am, for the felony matter, I'm going to impose a bond of $500, cash or secured, released to pretrial if posted. If you posted, no drugs, no alcohol, no firearms, monitoring and treatment as directed. Your next court date is going to be the steps review hearing on March 24. It's going to be March 24 at 9 a.m. So that's to see if you actually are eligible. The state does a screening to see if you're eligible for the substance abuse treatment, and you'll find out on March 24th next week if you're actually eligible for that. And then the next hearing after that will be March 27 at 1:30 p.m., which is the preliminary hearing date. Okay. And then for the Tucson City Court matters, ma'am, these are for failures to appear for assault, criminal damage, disorderly conduct, which are all domestic violence offenses. The original bond that the city court judge had requested was $1,000, so I will honor that bond. $1,000 cash or secured. If you posted, no drugs, no alcohol, do not commit any acts of domestic violence, no contact with the victims, do not go to their residences. Again, I'm appointing counsel for you in the city court, Ms. Katsarelis. Your next court date for the city court is March 26 at 1:30 p.m. If you're still in custody, the jail will make sure that court date happens for you. If you fail to appear for any court dates when you're out of custody, warrant can issue for your arrest, ma'am. Do you understand all that? Also, I think you're muted.
My apologies.
All right. Do you understand all that, ma'am?
yes.
Okay. All right. You're excused for today, Ms. Romero.
I have to pay all of that to get out.
Good morning, ma'am. Can I get your full name, please?
Alexandria Elizabeth Berkeley.
Good morning, Ms. Berkeley. This is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you today on a felony charge for child abuse, domestic violence, which is a felony matter. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. I'm appointing the Pima County Public Defender's Office to represent you, and Ms. Austin is seated next to you for purposes of today. I'll be setting some release conditions for you, ma'am. I've reviewed the pretrial services report, the interim complaint, and also the state's recommendation. State's recommending $15,000 in this matter. Mr. Poston, anything further?
Your Honor, the state notes the severity of the injuries sustained by the victim in this situation and is greatly troubled by the fact that the defendant self-reported that she's employed full-time as a caregiver. This involves a child who was injured, and therefore the state has great concerns about future risk to the victim and a potential to flee. $15,000.
Thank you, Mr. Poston. Ms. Austin?
Your Honor, with all due respect, Ms. Berkeley has one drug conviction from 2009 and otherwise has had no trouble with the law. These allegations are just that. They're allegations. They involve her nephew and a purse strap that left marks. I have not seen the photos, but Mr. Poston makes it sound like this is the most dangerous woman alive. She does have employment that's not associated with her nephew. She has pretrial services has already confirmed that she's housing outside of where she lives with the victim.
Your Honor, I haven't been in trouble with the law for over 10 years. I've been a law-abiding citizen. I'm a nursing student. I graduated at the end of the year. As she said, this is allegations. This is my brother. I love my nephew, and I would never hurt him. You know?
We would ask that you release the defendant to pretrial services.
Ma'am, did you say that you just recently graduated or that you're still a student?
I graduate in December with my bachelor's degree, and I'm a certified medical assistant, and I have been for 8 years.
All right. Ma'am, I'm going to take a chance on you, and I am going to release you to third-party custody pretrial services. All right. Absolutely no contact with your nephew at this time. Don't go to your brother's house. Was that a shared residence?
It's my mother's house, and I obtained my own residence on Monday, so I haven't been there since the incident.
Okay. All right. If you have any belongings there, you can go there with court order and law enforcement escort to get any belongings you have there. But don't go there. Don't have any contact with your nephew. If there's any other children that you have contact with, any other nieces or nephews, it must be supervised. I don't think DCS was involved in this case, but if they are, abide by any DCS conditions. No drugs, no alcohol, monitoring treatment as directed by pretrial, no firearms, no acts of domestic violence. All right. This is very serious, ma'am, so make sure you abide by all those conditions. All right, your next court date, Ms. Berkeley, is going to be March 27th at 1:30 p.m. for a preliminary hearing. That date may or may not go, so keep in contact with your attorney. A warrant can issue for your arrest if you fail to appear for any of your court dates. You understand all that, Ms. Berkeley?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you, Ms. Berkeley. Your excuse for today.
Hey, Kathy. You talk to Kathy.
All right, good morning, sir. Can I get your name, please?
This Kentucky Kathy.
Morning, Mr. Kathy. This is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you today on felony charges of possession of dangerous drugs, possession of narcotic drugs, possession of drug paraphernalia, Also seeing you out of Nogales City Court for post-adjudicated warrant. We're going to talk about the felony first, and then we'll talk about the Nogales case. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. I'm going to appoint the Pima County Legal Defender's Office to represent you on the felony matter. I'm going to be setting some release conditions for you, sir. Looks like this is a steps eligible, Mr. Poston. Is that right?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Cathy, so the state is saying that you may be eligible to participate in drug treatment. It's a pre-indictment program for diversion and drug treatment. Would you be interested in participating?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. All right, so there's the next court date. It's going to be March 24 for that steps hearing. So you'll find out on that date if you are eligible. They do a screening before that. So make sure you show up to that March 24 next week at 9 a.m. at the Superior Courthouse. And Ms. Austin, waive time for the preliminary hearing date to be set out.
Well, Your Honor, that depends if the client is going to be held in custody on the other matter. May we revisit it after, thank you.
The matter is failure to
All right, so yes, I'm going to be releasing Mr. Cathy on the other matter.
Then we will waive time, Your Honor.
All right, so Mr. Cathy, next court date is March 24. That's the most important one, to make sure that if you see that you are eligible for that steps diversion program, the next court date after that will be May 1st at 1:30 for the preliminary hearing date. That's if you don't participate in the steps. All right, you're going to be released to third-party custody pretrial services in the felony matter. No drugs, no alcohol, no firearms, monitoring treatment as directed. Do not go to the incident location wherever you were arrested for this case. No contact with the co-defendant Ramon Hermosillo regarding this case. If you fail to appear for your court dates, sir, warrant can issue for your arrest. If you fail to appear for the steps hearing on March 24, they won't consider you for that. So make sure you show up next week at Superior Court. All right, for the Nogales City Court case, I am going to release you on your own promise to appear for your next court date. The only condition for that is don't drive without a valid driver's license. The paperwork you'll get will have the address and date and time. It's going to be April 1st at 9 a.m. at Nogales Municipal Court.
yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, did you say April 1st at 9 a.m., Your Honor?
Yes, April 1st at 9 a.m. for Nogales Municipal Court. Again, if you fail to appear for any court dates, warrant can issue, sir. So just make sure you keep in contact with the courthouses to make sure you show up to all these. Get this taken care of. All right?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Your excuse for today. Thank you. Good morning. Can I get your name, please?
Omar Gonzalez.
All right, good morning, Mr. Gonzalez. I'm seeing you today on 2 charges of aggravated domestic violence, which are felonies. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. I'm going to appoint the Pima County Public Defender's Office to represent you, and you have Ms. Austin seated next to you for purposes of today. I'm going to be setting some release conditions for you, sir, for both your cases. I've reviewed the interim complaints, the pretrial services report. The state's written recommendation is $40,000. Mr.
Your Honor, that's a typo. It should be 10,000 on each consecutive.
Okay, thank you. Anything
Sure,
further you want to argue, Mr. Poston?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Other than the persistency of this person, he's an NVCA, yes, he's a 5 out of 5. He has not lived at the location. That has been made abundantly clear that he is not welcome there and should not go there. He keeps going. He has Looks like he's on probation for CR 2021-3410 and Tucson case 2202-030143. These are two priors for essentially the same victim. And on the latter, there's likely, the former, there's likely a probation violation coming if not already here.
Mr. Poston, I see that according to pretrial service report, the felony matter, the 2021-3410 sentence ended March 6th with a jail sentence.
Well, it looks like he just missed the deadline then. I stand corrected, Your Honor.
All right. Anything else, Mr. Poston?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Austin?
We would just add that, according to the assessment by pretrial services, the victim sustained no injuries, and we would ask the court to give Mr. Gonzalez the lowest bond that the court finds appropriate.
Thank you. Mr. Gonzalez, I do believe a bond is appropriate in both these cases. Be $5,000, cash or secured, release to pretrial if you post it. No drugs, no alcohol. Do not commit any further acts of domestic violence. Do not go to your mother's residence. They don't want you there. They're the named victims. Do not go there. No firearms, no weapons. Monitoring and treatment as directed. If you have any property there, you can return with police escort only. With police escort only, you can go back one time to get any property if you have any personal belongings. Otherwise, you cannot go to their residence or their workplaces if they have any workplaces. Gonzalez will be March 27th at 1:30 p.m. for preliminary hearing. That date may or may not go, so just keep in contact with the public defender, your attorney. If you don't show up to court, a warrant can issue for your arrest. You understand all that, sir? Do you understand all that, Mr. Gonzalez?
You have to give a verbal yes or no.
It's on camera.
You have to give.
No, yes.
All right, thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. You're excused for today.
Officer.
Motion.
I'm supposed to be at work on this roof right here today.
Good morning, sir. Can I get your full name, please?
Jamoco Delos.
The middle name Kenyatta?
Yes, ma'am. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's all right. All right. So this is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you for a warrant out of Cochise County for aggravated DUI, which is a felony, as well as some misdemeanors, DUI, false reporting to law enforcement. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. In certain instances, if you cannot afford one may be appointed for you. Since this is an out-of-county warrant, sir, the warrant amount was $2,500. I'm going to affirm that amount of $2,500, cash or secured. And then the other jurisdiction, they should come pick you up so that you can be seen in Cochise County. So the next court date for you, sir, will be April 16th at 9 a.m. It's called a review hearing. That's just to make sure that Cochise County has picked you up on their warrant. All right, you're excused for today, sir.
Your Honor, I'm sorry, did you appoint anyone to represent, an office to represent?
Because I went to court and stuff.
No, we usually don't appoint for review hearings for out-of-county jurisdictions.
Okay, thank you. May I have a moment?
Yes, of course.
Like this mess.
Your Honor, if I may, would the court entertain an argument for a reduction in bond in Cochise County?
Sure, go ahead.
So I have spoken with Mr. Deloche. He was aware that he had a court date. He went to his Cochise County court date. They told him that he didn't have a court date. He does have proof and documentation because he paperwork and pictures. And he was actually here at Pima County Jail today because he is part of a roofing crew that's working on the roof of Pima County Jail. And when he submitted his name.
No, not here. He went to the officer down the road. Cause they pulled a roof truck.
Okay. Yeah. And he was shocked to find out that this warrant does in fact exist. He's supposed to leave here at the end of the workday and has insisted, insists that he intends on taking care of that Cochise County warrant. He needs to go home and get all of the documentation in order to have that warrant quashed.
Sir, do you live in Pima County?
Yes, ma'am.
What is your address?
East Old Spanish Trail, 850 East Old Spanish Trail. 85701.
Okay. And what was your name again, sir?
Roofing. I'm supposed to be putting a roof on this jail right now.
He's a roofer, and pretrial services did confirm his employment with his girlfriend, and that he's been a resident of Arizona for 8 years.
Okay, I didn't get a pretrial. Oh, there it is. Sorry, it came in late. Let me just take a look at this. Okay. All right, sir. I am going to release you today. We don't have a next court date, so what you're going to do when you get your paperwork, it'll have the phone number for Cochise County Superior Court. So you have to call them to get your next court date so you can get this taken care of, and you'll get an attorney once you get to Cochise County. All right, but you have to call them. If you don't call them, this warrant's just going to be out there. All right.
Yeah, when I called them though, and they tell when they tell me.
No. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hermosillo.
All right. Good morning, sir. Can I get your full name, please?
Good morning. My name is Ramon Hermosillo.
You have a middle name?
Ramon Javier Hermosillo.
Thank you, Mr. Hermosillo. This is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you today for felony charges of possession of dangerous drugs, possession of drug paraphernalia, which are felonies. Also seeing you out of Tucson City Court for failure to appear, criminal trespass, as well as theft. We'll talk about your felonies first, and then we'll talk about your misdemeanors. So you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. In certain instances, you cannot afford one may be appointed for you. For your felony matter, sir, I'm going to appoint the Pima County Public Defender's Office to represent you. I'll be setting some release conditions for you. Review the initial, the interim complaint, the pretrial services report. Mr. Poston, this defendant is eligible for steps.
It would appear so, Your Honor, yes.
Thank you. Anything else, Mr. Poston?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Austin, or actually, Mr. Hermosillo, you may be eligible to participate in a pre-indictment diversion program for substance abuse treatment and counseling. Would you be interested in participating in that?
Yes, ma'am, I really like that.
Okay. All right. So it's called STEPS. The next court date for that is March 24 at 9 a.m. So that's next week. You have to show up for that date. And then the state will let you know because they do a screening process beforehand to make sure, see if you are eligible. And so you'll find out on that date next week, March 24 at 9 a.m.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Okay. And let's see. All right, I'm going to release you to the third-party custody pretrial services on the felony matter. No drugs, no alcohol, no firearms. Monitoring treatment as directed. Do not go to the incident location. No contact with the co-defendant, Kitaka Kathy, regarding this case. And Ms. Austin waived time for the STEPS PH date to be set out.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. So Mr. Hermosillo, the PH date, which may or may not go, will be May 1st at 1:30 p.m. Again, make sure you show up next week to Pima County Superior Court for the steps. Just make sure you're eligible. If you don't show up, they're not going to consider you. So make sure you show up next week.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
For your Tucson City Court case, sir, I am going to release you on your own promise to appear for your next court date. All right, that's going to be April 18th at 9:30 a.m. at Tucson City Court downtown. The only condition is don't go to the incident location for the trespass or the theft. All right.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. If you fail to appear for court, warrant can issue. Trial can go without you. So make sure you get these taken care of. All right.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Your excuse for today, Mr. Hermosillo.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome, sir.
Yep. Your Honor, just to let you know, this gentleman has an APO hold.
Yes, I saw that. Thank you. All right, sir, can I get your name, please? Morning, Mr. Yate. This is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you today for a warrant out of Maricopa County Superior Court for possession of narcotic drugs and possession of drug paraphernalia, which are felonies. Also seeing you for a warrant out of South Tucson City Court for a shoplifting, which is a misdemeanor. All right, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. In certain instances, if you cannot afford one may be appointed for you. And as the jail just told you, you do have a APO hold for adult probation out of Pima County. All right, sir. So the bond on the Maricopa County case was $1,000. I'm going to honor that. Cash or secured. For that case, sir, you're going to have a review hearing April 16th at 9 a.m. at the Justice Court just to see where things are with your APO hold.
Yes.
And then for the South Tucson City Court case, that warrant, I'm going to actually see. Since you're going to be held in custody for a while on that APO hold, I am going to appoint you an attorney for your South Tucson City Court case. The attorney's name is Michael Vaughn. All right. And the amount of the bond on that South Tucson City Court was $100. So I'm going to honor that bond of $100, cash or secured. If you posted no contact with the alleged victim of the shoplifting, the business, don't go to that business location. Your next court date will be April 1st at 10 a.m. Or excuse me, on March 18th. That's tomorrow at 10 a.m. So you'll be seen by video since you'll probably be still in custody for that APO hold. Okay. All right, so everything's kind of being driven by your Pima County APO hold right now. If you fail to appear for court, a warrant can issue for your arrest. You understand all that, Mr. Uriarte?
Yeah.
He's here today.
Yeah.
Your Honor, Mr. Urate is a Spanish speaker. May we pause for a moment to get a translator here?
Oh, sure. Miss Austin, we're trying to get a hold of an interpreter right now. It might take a couple minutes, so if we can come back to Mr. Uriarte.
Possible that he to understand and that some things were just clarified. I'm comfortable waiving my client's interpreter. I feel confident that he understands enough of what happened, and also because he's being held in other matters outside of Pima County Superior Court that
Also changing his language, and so both forward to get translated.
will also be changing his language to Spanish so that his next appearance, which is tomorrow via video with Maricopa, he'll have an interpreter.
Okay.
Thank you for your patience.
All right, thank you. Morning, sir. Can I get your name, please? Good morning, Mr. Jacobo. This is a time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you today on a new felony charge for unlawful flight from law enforcement, which is a felony, and also reckless driving, which is a misdemeanor. You also have some Tucson City Court failures to appear for domestic violence offenses, assault, disorderly conduct, criminal damage, disorderly conduct, threatening, intimidating. I'm also letting you know that you have an adult probation hold out of Pima County Superior Court. So it looks like you're held without bond on that matter. All right, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. I'm appointing the Pima County Public Defender's Office to represent you on the felony matter. And then also the Tucson City Court Tucson City Public Defender's Office to represent you on the Tucson City Court matter. I'm going to be setting some release conditions for you, sir, on all these cases. I have reviewed the pretrial services report, the interim complaint. State's recommending a $7,500 bond. Mr. Poston, you want to be heard further?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
No, thank you. Ms. Austin?
Thank you, Your Honor. These allegations are nonviolent offenses. The defendant was out with an active warrant for, it looks like, a year and a half before having this, before this incident and coming into contact with law enforcement. So it sounds like he has, at least for the last year and a half, if not more, managed to stay out of trouble, and he sounds willing to take care of that matter while released to pretrial services on his nonviolent offense. We would ask that the court release him to pretrial services.
Your Honor, stay with submittees on. He's got a probation hold, so this is kind of moot.
All right, thank you. I do think a bond is appropriate in this matter. Mr. Hobo, I'm going to issue a bond of $5,000 for your new felony matter, cash or secured $5,000, released to pretrial if posted. If you do post it, do not drive without a valid driver's license, no drugs, no alcohol, no firearms. Monitoring and treatment is directed by pretrial. Your next court date for the felony matter is March 27th at 1:30 p.m. for a preliminary hearing. That date may or may not go, so make sure you keep in contact with your attorney. And then for your Tucson City Court matter, sir, I'm going to issue a bond of $500, cash or secured. Do not commit any further acts of domestic violence, no contact with the named victims, do not go to their addresses. Your next court date for Tucson City Court will be March 25 at 1:45 p.m. And if you're still in custody, you'll be seen by video. And if I didn't say so already, Tucson City Public Defender is appointed on that case. If you fail to appear for court, sir, warrant can issue for your arrest. The Tucson City Court cases are from like 2023, so make sure you get these taken care of. All right, you're excused for today, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lopez? Yeah.
Morning, sir. Can I get your name, please?
Yes, Porfirio Cordero Lopez.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Lopez. This is
Good morning.
Thank you. This is the time set for your initial appearance, Mr. Lopez. I'm seeing. Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Lopez. This is
Good morning.
Thank you. This is the time set for your initial appearance, Mr. Lopez. I'm seeing you today for a felony charge of aggravated DUI, and I'm also seeing you on Tucson City Court new charges for disorderly conduct, domestic violence. We're talking about the felonies first, and then we'll talk about the misdemeanor. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. I'm going to appoint the Pima County Public Defender's Office to represent you in the felony matter. Be setting some release conditions for you, sir. I reviewed the pretrial services report. The interim complaint, the state's written recommendation is $15,000. Mr. Poston, anything further to add?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Austin?
One more. Thank you for your patience, Your Honor. I'm just confused because the defendant is here on a felony matter of a DUI and it looks like a misdemeanor language or gestures. I'm trying to see what his misdemeanor matters are, but it seems like it hardly a felony DUI and some misdemeanor charges hardly warrant a extraordinary bond that Mr. Poston is asking for. So I'm wondering if Mr. Poston, I'm missing something here.
Let me pull up his history on the pretrial website, counsel.
Thank you.
So just to clarify, the misdemeanors are for a city court matter.
Looking at, he's on probation for a pretty nasty charge, and this is not his first DUI, which is what gives the state concern about this person's violent nature and indifference to driving whilst drunk, putting the entire community at risk.
Where is he on probation?
CR 2023-1473.
Follow two probation violations as well, so he gets released, he's not going anywhere. Oh, sorry. Take that back.
Thank you, everybody. I completed.
Yes, I've had a chance to confer with Mr. Lopez. He has been on probation for the last year, but he has been doing well. He has a hearing coming up in that matter. He assures me he's been compliant. I understand that having a felony DUI does not constitute compliance. However, I think it hardly warrants the bond that Mr. Poston is asking for in this matter.
State submits on the written record, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Lopez, are you currently employed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Where do you work?
Home Run Movers Company, LLC,
All right, is it part-time or full-time?
full time.
Do you live in Pima County?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, sir, I'm going to release you to pretrial services, all right? You are also on probation, as you well know, so you have to abide by both conditions. They might
Yes, ma'am.
say just go to probation. They might say you have to check in with both of them because they have different conditions. So I'm gonna release you to pretrial services. Do not drive without a valid driver's license. Absolutely no drugs, no alcohol, which you already should know that. Monitoring treatment is directed by pretrial, no firearms whatsoever, and any additional conditions you have through adult probation. Through CR 20.
Your Honor, did the jail staff say that there was a probation hold?
I did
No.
not hear that.
There's no probation hold.
Yeah, he's on probation, but
Very
no
well.
hold at this time. All right.
Okay.
Okay, and sir, do not go to the incident location, which is 1058 East Tucson Marketplace. Do not go there. Okay. All right. Your
Yes, Your Honor.
day will be April 7th at 1:30 p.m., which is a preliminary hearing. That date may or may not go, so keep in contact with your attorney. If they fail to appear for court, a warrant can issue for your arrest. On your Tucson City Court case matter, sir, I'm also going to release you on your promise to appear for your next court date. Again, no driving without a valid driver's license, no drugs, no alcohol. Do not commit any further acts of domestic violence. And at this time, no contact with Nora Martinez. She hasn't said what she wants right now. So right now, no contact. Okay. All right. And do you guys have a shared residence or did you live separately?
Separately, Your Honor.
So you can go back to your house. Don't go to her house or her workplace, right? That marketplace address is her workplace. Don't go there. All right, and your next court date, sir, for city court will be April 15 at 1:30 p.m. Make sure you show up to court. If you don't, a warrant can issue for your arrest. This is also the time set for your arraignment on your city court matter. You are presumed innocent. I'm going to enter not guilty pleas on your behalf, deny any allegation filed against you. You're ordered to appear for that April 15th court date, as well as any future court dates. If you can't make it because of work or something, you call them and let them know so they can change your court date. Okay, this is serious. All right. If you fail to appear for court, warrant can issue for your arrest. Trial can go without you. If you're convicted at a trial in your absence and unable to be sentenced within 90 days because you're on warrant status, you may lose your right to a direct appeal. So it's in your best interest to show up to court and get this taken care of. You understand all that, Mr. Lopez?
I have a question, Your Honor.
You can add one moment. He has no questions for the court.
Okay, thank you. Your excuse for today, Mr. Lopez.
Felix.
Morning, can I get your name, please?
Brianna Miller Baumhauer.
Good morning, Ms. Miller-Baumhar. This is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you today for a felony matter post-indictment out of Pima County Superior Court for possession of dangerous drugs, which is a felony. Also seeing you for a Pima County Justice Court case, failure to appear for domestic violence, threatening and intimidating, which is a misdemeanor. Also for failure to appear out of Tucson City Court for criminal trespass, failure to appear, which is also a misdemeanor. All right, so you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. In certain instances, if you cannot afford one may be appointed for you. On your felony matter, ma'am, I'm going to appoint Barb Catrillo to represent you. I reviewed the pretrial services report, the interim complaint. The state's recommendation is $5,000. Mr. Poston, did you want to be heard further?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Austin?
Yes, Your Honor, for Ms. Miller Baumhauer, $5,000 is an extraordinary amount. While she does have some difficulty showing up to her court dates, these are mere simple drug possession matters. She's not a threat to the community. She's not a risk. And we would ask the court to release her to pretrial services on a promise that she will take care of these legal matters and appear at all future hearings. And I can make her aware of what happens when people are picked up again after being released on these matters.
All right, so ma'am, you were originally released to pretrial when you were first arrested on the felony matter, and then you failed to appear, I think, twice for this. So I am going to order a bond of $500. That was the originally bond amount for the warrant. So it can be $500, cash or secured on the felony matter, released to pretrial if you post it. No drugs, no alcohol, no firearms. Monitoring treatment is directed by pretrial. Your next court date, ma'am, will be March 24th at 1:30 p.m. for an arraignment in Pima County Superior Court. If you post it, then make sure you show up If you don't, then the jail will make sure you get seen via video. If you fail to appear again, the warrant can issue, judge may issue a higher bond than 500, so make sure you show up. All right, your next case is for the Justice Court case. That one, I'm going to issue a bond of $100, cash or secured. Again, no drugs, no alcohol, do not commit any acts of domestic violence, no contact with alleged victims, do not go to the victim's residence or work. You're gonna have an attorney appointed for you for that. It's gonna be Janet Alschuler. Your next court date for that is actually tomorrow, March 18th at 1 p.m. Again, if you're in custody, you'll be seen by video. All right, and then the Tucson City Court case. I'm gonna appoint Tucson City Public Defender's Office for you for that matter. Bond is gonna be $50, cash or secured. Do not return to the incident location, no drugs, no alcohol. All right, and I don't know if you've been arraigned on this, ma'am, so I'm just going to arraign you just in case you haven't been. You're presumed innocent. I'm gonna enter not guilty pleas on your behalf. You're ordered to appear for all future court dates for Tucson City Court. Your next court date is gonna be March 25 at 1:45 p.m. You're ordered to appear for all future court dates. If you fail to appear, warrant can issue, trial can go in your absence. If you're convicted at a trial in your absence and unable to be sentenced within 90 days because you're on warrant status, you may lose your right to a direct appeal. So it's in your best interest to show up to court, keep in contact with all your attorneys. You have attorneys on all your cases now. Get these taken care of. You understand all that, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you. Your excuse for today. Good morning, can I get your name, please? Sorry, Brittany Miranda? All right, and your middle name is Ann? I think, are you on mute? You might be on mute, counsel, just want to check.
No, she has some vocal stress.
All right, no problem, thank you.
One-
All right, Ms. Miranda, I'm seeing you today on a felony charge for theft of means of transportation, which is a felony matter. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. I'm appointing the Pima County Public Defender's Office to represent you. I reviewed the interim complaint and the pretrial services report. I got to set some release conditions for you, ma'am. Looks like the state is recommending a no bond hearing. Is that correct, Mr. Poston?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. So Ms. Miranda, the Arizona law says that if someone is pending a felony case and they get arrested on a new felony matter, the state can request to hold that person without bond, but they have to provide some evidence. So there'll be a hearing about that. So the no bond hearing will be set on March 21st at 2:30 p.m. at the Pima County Superior Court. At that point, the state will either put on evidence or argue bond at that point. All right, after the March 21st date, your next date will be March 27 at 1:30. That's going to be a preliminary hearing. All right, you're ordered to appear for all future court dates. If you fail to appear, warrant can issue for your arrest. You understand all that, ma'am? Okay, thank you. Hope your voice gets better. Your excuse for today.
Romero.
Morning, can I get your name, please?
Marcos Romero.
Morning, Mr. Romero. This is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you on felony charges for possession of narcotic drug and possession of drug paraphernalia. Also seeing you today on a Tucson City Court failure to appear for possession of drug paraphernalia. We'll talk about the felony court. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. For the felony case, I am appointing the Pima County Legal Defender's Office to represent you. I'm going to set some release conditions for you, sir. I've reviewed the interim complaint, the pretrial services report. Mr. Poston, Mr. Romero is potentially steps eligible.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Anything further, Mr. Poston?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Austin?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. So, Mr. Romero, the state is saying you may be eligible to participate in a pre-indictment diversion program for substance abuse treatment and counseling. Would you be interested in participating in that?
Yeah.
All right,
Yes.
thank you. All right, so I'm going to release you to pretrial services, sir. No drugs, no alcohol, no firearms, monitoring treatment as directed by pretrial. Your next court date is next week, March 24 at 9 a.m. at Pima County Superior Court on the 3rd floor. At that point, you'll find out if you're actually eligible for that diversion program. If you don't show up, they're just going to kick you out of the program. So make sure you show up. Okay, they have good resources there. March 24 at 9 a.m. And waive time for the PH date being set out, Ms. Austin.
Yes, if the court finds release on the
City court.
city court matter appropriate. Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. So, Mr. Remember, in order to participate in the steps hearing, the preliminary hearing date for the felony matter will be set out to May 1st at 1:30 p.m. Okay. And for your city court case, sir, I'm going to release you on your own promise to appear for your next court date at city court. You'll get all the paperwork for the date and time before you're released from jail today. No drugs, no alcohol. Your next court date for city court will be April 17 at 2 p.m. You're ordered to appear for all future court dates. If you fail to appear, warrant can issue for your arrest. Trial can go in your absence. You understand all that, sir?
Yes.
Thank you. You're excused for today.
I had a question though.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Go ahead.
Morning. Can I get your name, please?
Go to see Usher Windsor.
Thank you, Mr. Windsor. This is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you today on 4 counts of disorderly conduct with a weapon, which are felony matters. Also seeing you on Tucson City Court misdemeanors for disorderly conduct fighting and assault, which are misdemeanors. We'll talk about the felonies first and then the misdemeanors. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. For the felony matter, I'm appointing the Pima County Public Defender's Office to represent you. For the city court matter, I'm appointing the Tucson City Court Public Defender's Office to represent you. We're going to set some release conditions for you, sir, on both these cases. I've reviewed the pretrial services report, the interim complaint. The state is recommending $7,500 in bond. Mr. Poston, do you want to be heard further?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Austin?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Windsor has no felony record. And the allegations, as I understand it, are 4 counts of a class 6 felony. It sounds like it looks like he's also been charged with misdemeanor disorderly conduct. And these are only allegations. How this might play out in an indictment, it might be settled as a matter of, well, it could be settled with the dismissal, but it could also be settled as a matter in misdemeanor court. Mr. Poston is asking for an extraordinarily high amount for such a low-level felony from someone who has no felony conviction on his record. And we would ask that you release him to pretrial services with the promise to appear at his next court date.
All right, thank you. I do believe a bond is appropriate, given the alleged use of the firearm in this case. So I'm going to order a bond of $2,500 for the felony matter, cash or secured, released to pretrial if posted. No drugs, no alcohol, no firearms while the case is pending, sir. Monitoring treatment as directed by pretrial. No contact with the alleged victims. Do not go to the incident locations, which is the Legacy Tattoo Shop. Don't try to find the victim's residence, etc. No contact of any kind. Your next court date will be a preliminary hearing on March 27 at 1:30 p.m. That date may or may not go, so keep in contact with your attorney, especially if you post bond or a release before then. If you fail to appear for court, a warrant can issue for your arrest. On the Tucson City Court matter, it does look like the victim in that case was injured. I am going to order bond in that matter of $100, cash or secured. No firearms again, no weapons. All right, no contact of any kind with the listed victim in that case. Do not go to the Dollar Tree at 6178 East Speedway. Do not return to that Dollar Tree, which is the incident location. No contact of any kind with the named victim in that case. Again, appointing the Tucson City Public Defender's Office for your city court matter. Your next court date for that will be March 25 at 1:45 p.m. If you're still in custody, you'll be seen via video. If you're out of custody, it's up to you to make sure you show up to court. Again, a warrant can issue for your arrest if you fail to appear. For your city court case, sir, this is also the time set for your arraignment. You are presumed innocent. I am going to enter not guilty pleas on your behalf. You're ordered to appear for all future court dates. If you fail to appear, a warrant can issue. Trial can go in your absence. If you're convicted at trial in your absence and unable to be sentenced within 90 days because you're on warrant status, you may lose your right to a direct appeal. So it's in your best interest to show up to court, keep in contact with both your attorneys, and get these taken care of. Do you understand all that, sir?
Yes. Yeah, I have $1,000.
He has no questions for the court, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, thank you. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I think we're done for today.